So welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is a live on the first of our new 2017, and after watching the streamathon yesterday and following everybody popping into the new year across the globe, I had the opportunity to kind of reevaluate what I wanted to do. So I'd sorted these oil pastels, a full tray of different coloured oil pastels, and I thought, I really must start to use these. So I had a bit of a play, and I'm normally a girl that works with a 10-0 paintbrush and a 0.25 pen, so this is completely different to me. But I need to loosen up a bit, and I need to use these oil pastels, which you can't really use oil pastels if you want a lot of detail. Not to begin with. Excuse me. So I did this yesterday, and I thought this is going to be the first page. And then I'd found this book, and I'd had a look through the others, and there's some nice things, but I thought, well, I paid £2 for this, and I'd have to stop being so kind of obsessive about, oh, it's got to be perfect. So I thought this would make quite a good journal. But I can't write every day because I'm not kind of, if I have to write a diary every day, I get stressed because I feel guilty that by the 4th of January, it's like, I've got nothing to say. I don't want to do it. I'm too busy. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. What am I going to write about? So I thought if I did a colour book every day, I could just write a few little a word. I could write one word every day to sum up that day, which is what a diary is. In that, when you look back and you think, oh well, so and so had to hospital day. Well, I know that was a bad day because I sat in hospital all day worrying about it. So if you write one word, I thought I could probably do that. And then there's a bit of a kind of a big page here because they're all one-sided. Single-sided, and it's quite nice paper considering it was a couple of quid. So I thought, well, what I could do is if I want to write lots, I could do, or I could just put the date on and not even write a day or a word. But I want to do something every day, and I have all these oil pastels and pastels that need to be used up really. So I put the date on yesterday and I've got to today. So I was having a look about, this is the second page. But when you look through this book, there comes detailed ones like this, and I thought, well, I don't really think I could even do that with these. So there might be odd pages, and again, it's stress. This is the page I have to do today, but I don't want to do that page. I want to do that page. So I've decided that I do one colour page a day with pastels or oil pastels, and I have a real good play with colour and free myself to play with colour, and it doesn't matter what time of day I do it. So that's my New Year's resolution, or one of them, is to take these oil pastels that I have sat since the kids were little and use them. They're not professional, the kids aren't going to use them anymore. The book was £2. I should just go for it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just thought I might do this because I need some motivation. I have to have some motivation. And I have a lot of lovely books that have fine detail on them. Like the colour books and the Kirby Roseannes, that I can sit there and be Miss Fiddly Pants. But I think I really need to be Miss Go For It Creative Pants again, because I haven't done this for a long time. So I've picked out a few kind of orangey colours that are all together. And so it's not a bad set actually, even though it was for kids. And I thought, Nigel, may I have a cup of tea, darling, please? Yeah. Thank you. So I thought I'm going to have a bit of a play with this particular flower here. And I've also got the little piece of paper, so you can actually push these together and smudge. You can actually smudge them. But what I'd found in the, I did have a bit of a tidy up. And I found quite a few of these little smudgy blender things. And I've also found about 30 of these for putting your pencils in when they get too small. And I certainly, this is a Derwent one, I think, not quite sure. So what I tried to do was to throw things in certain places that I think they would kind of, there's another one that, when the pencils get too small, even the crayons probably. And there's one for charcoal, I think one's for charcoal, because if people don't like using charcoal. And there's these blendable things that I've never used, so I thought we'd have a bit of a play. And again, this is another set of pastels. So I've got some really, really nice pastels. In fact, I wish I hadn't done that now because I want to use those. I might use those tomorrow. Because this, so I've got quite a few colours. These are quite vibrant. This is, and there was only one brown in, so I kind of struggled. But I thought, no, I'm not going to mess about. I'm going to have just a play. So I kind of had a bit of a route around. So these are not as nice as these kind of really creamy, oily oil pastels. And there will be a difference, but I bought these in Spain for my children because they had to have art supplies. So if you don't want to get messy, you can use that. I think this is a bit of a blendable tool. That might be for pastels. I think you can also use this for, what's the word? Masking fluid. I think some people use these for masking fluid because you're not going to wreck your brushes. So there's all sorts of things you can do if you don't actually want dirty fingers. I can't find the two I used yesterday, which is a bit of a shame. So I'm going to pop that to this side so that I can have a real good play with these. And we'll see what happens. So I've got two here, so you can actually push them together. I do find that a bit difficult.
Got some sugar?
Yes, please, darling. I need sweetening up this year. Just. You see, I've got some really nice ones. I don't want to use the really nice ones, but I wonder if I could use not a baby wipe, but like a kitchen, a dry wipe, rather than that. But we'll have a go. So I've got. So if we go through the colours, and again, they're just really, really soft. Thank you, darling. I'll have another drop of that, please. Thank you. And a pint of water, darling. Thank you, because you can guarantee if I start talking, I'll start coughing. So we've got that colour. This is the next one. So you can either play with two colours or... But the pound shop oil pastels are really kind of... I'm going to do that one, I think. And again, this is so new for me to just scribble colour on. But it's quite fun. And I just thought this book could be fun. And backgrounds as well. I'm actually doing backgrounds, and I never do backgrounds. I think I've probably got too many colours here for them to have a natural blend. So I don't know actually what that looks like. So that's, I'm going to see if I can actually just pan in a bit and hope that the light isn't too different, because as I say, I've been playing about a little bit. So you can see all I've done is just scribble. So you can either kind of do this with your fingers, but I'm not sure I want to do that. Just throw those on top there, because you do get quite messy. I'm just going to have, how much of a life let me think what I did with the other ones. And I've also found some of these. Now some of them were expensive and some aren't. This is one that you can actually sharpen, I think. But what I thought I would do is just kind of have a little bit of a... You're always looser if you hold it like this, so actually that would probably be better. And just kind of push it gently where there isn't any colour. And hope that we'll get some kind of nice effect. So I don't know what that looks like. It's a little bit pale, is that probably? And if I want to be tidy, so I suppose I should put these back in this little tray, because I'll never probably go back in their proper order. So paste one. There's something quite nice about having things in order. I think I might just, like, oh, sorry about that, because it's a plastic thing. I might just want to put a little bit of dark in there. Now, it's on paper, so it's not going to be perfect, but it's quite nice to just have a little bit of a play. And this one, I probably can start doing the same colours. There's a bit of a red here, so if I just kind of go in with this gorgeous red. And they're a little bit easier to use than crayons. That's how I can explain them. They're like, it's like creamy butter kind of just squidging on the page. And I'm using this as a kind of a reference to kind of just have a little bit of this red, deepest colour, and we should kind of get some quite dramatic effects. And of course then they go down there. So I thought it was the time that I started to be a bit more creative and not think everything should be just about perfect. So it's a bit orange, is that, but I don't think we've got many ready reds, so we can either go brown or we can go orange. So I kind of like, I could go purpley. It's very ready purple, that one. But we'll do orange next, and we'll just kind of give that a little bit of a kind of a fight. And I've actually missed a little bit of that. Now, I put some white in before, but I don't know if I've got white in this one. I haven't actually got white. So I might actually just play with the colours. I do want a little bit of red on this one, because that obviously is a curve back on itself. So sometimes colour books are really good. They actually really tell you where you should be putting some colour. And they're like having a crayon in your hand. It's fun, but you don't have crayons. I love them, but they're just a bit too hard for me. This is taking no effort to kind of push this colour on, so that's quite nice. So it means that I can actually work a little bit with them. So again, this is a bit of a paler shade. So you can either go over the top of the orange, if you're running out of space, if you want a really difficult highlight, or kind of go next to it. And again, you'll have to forgive me if this is pants. I've only done it yesterday very roughly, and I just thought I would have a bit of a play to see what would happen with these colours. And you can't get a point on them, you just have to kind of really go for it. And I actually think I might even go you can't go too highlight because it'll look silly, you know. You can probably put white, but I might not. I might just put these. Just another colour in. I've got to stop thinking about reality and think about creativity, and I think that's where I make a mistake. You know, I see a leaf and I think, right, well, that's got to be the same colour. It's just the light hitting it differently, and I've got to stop thinking that. I've got to start thinking, you know, if I want purple at one end and pink at the other, that's fine. And I think that will better my creativity instead of kind of being stuck in a rut. Boring. Everything I do is boring, because you do something and then you think, oh, I like that, I'm going to do it again. And then you think, oh, I like that, it's safe. So you need to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. And again, I'm just going to put some orange in there somewhere. And because these are children's ones, again, they're not precious, so you can do this. You can waste them if you want to. Whereas if you've got professional ones, you don't really want to do this with them. I might just put some kind of the deep red down here, I think. And again, this is just, it's a paper. It's not a proper board. It's not a proper canvas for oil pastels. It's just, and if we really wanted to be different, we could put a really dark, I do actually want a purple. You see, I'm going off to be a bit more artistically correct again, and I don't want to do that, but I actually quite fancy a purpley blue. I think it's going to be just that one. I actually quite fancy just a little bit of purple in there somewhere, just to kind of spark everything up a little bit. It probably would get rid of those lines that I don't really like. And I think the idea is to just get some colour on there, and then we'll smush it around a little bit. And again, that would be dark because it's on that side. A little bit over there. I do want to think a little bit about shape and colour. So I start at the lightest and kind of wiggle them in a little bit. And again, I think there's quite a lot of colour on there, because they are kind of... So I might keep one end to be palish, mix the pale colours together, and then have a darker purplish colour to kind of almost take that out. And that's kind of gone brown, because of course purpley brown would do that. Oh, hi Debbie, Coach Eileen. Anybody else I've missed? Welcome to Bunny's Designs. I'm having a bit of a play with my children's pastels, because I think it's time somebody had a bit of a go with them. And my New Year's resolution is to have a play and be creative in my really cheap drawing sketchbook, colouring book. And I've got a blendable kind of, feels like paper. I think they are actually made out of paper, but you can buy them quite cheaply now. They used to be really expensive. We used to call them a torsion, and then when I went back to art school, they kind of said, what the hell is one of those? And I said, it's a blendable tool, and they'd never heard of one. Well, we used to use them all the time, especially when you're drawing with, especially when you're using, oops, I've got the wrong end there, just kind of, I do want a little bit of light, especially when you're using charcoal. They're fab. And again, this is how I used to use charcoal. You slap it on, and then you kind of blend it about a bit. And then I used to draw with a rubber, an eraser. You put the colour on, and then the eraser is your highlights. And that's quite a good way to work as well. So I mean, these are only kids' ones, but they're doing the job. Having a bit of a blend. Using colours that I don't normally use. So sometimes that's quite nice in itself. And basically being a little bit more creative than I normally am. So that's my New Year's resolution. So this little book is going to have one day, probably about an hour maybe, of just picking a design that I like and kind of playing with colour with these children's crayons that I found. And of course you do get quite dirty, so again it's quite nice. It's not my little neatness that I'm normally used to. So if you're out of your comfort zone, and probably most of it I'm going to hate, but you know, some of it I might just like. So this is what being creative is about. It's about getting out of your comfort zone, because you never know what you can do until you have a go. But most of the time I'm too frightened to have a go. So that was my New Year's resolution, is to just go out there and do things that I've either never done before or I haven't done for many years. So I've got two extremely vibrant flowers there. They look quite dark there. They are a little bit lighter. I hope they look a little bit paler, because they are a little bit paler than it looks. And again, there isn't white, but we have grey. Is not particularly bright enough. The lightest one, oh, I tell a fib, that's white. Let's have a go with a little bit of white. So if you just put the tiniest amount of white, I cannot imagine it's going to do very much, because I've kind of really smushed in some colour. But I'll just have a go. And just have the littlest bit of a highlight. But again, you see, I'm now thinking in flower term. So, hope you all had a pleasant New Year. And I did tell my husband to go bring the coal in, but he didn't. And it's one of the first years that I've actually been at home, and I'm at a neighbour's house. And hubby was always bringing in the new year with coal. So we didn't actually do that this year, but never mind. It is actually giving a little bit of a kind of just a little bit of difference. And again, if you get kind of, you know, I would normally be mortified at wasting this, but you can get rid of all that colour, and then you've got a lovely white pastel crayon again. And I think there's probably going to be a little bit of that highlight on there. If you don't hold them like a pen, if you hold them like a crayon, you can get some kind of good squishiness going. And I think that's what we need. So I quite like that. And then I'm going to and this, I say it's a children's set collection, so it's got a really kind of strange, I could actually put that there, I think. No, yep. It's on a kind of a bit of a plasticky, so quite like those colours. So I'm going to use the same colours, but I might use them differently. I might go paler first. So maybe just have the tiniest amount of the red. I do this sometimes when I use the chameleon pens. You get to know what shades you've got, and then you can kind of either go pale or dark. So I quite like that. There's a leaf there, so I might just actually do that leaf because I'm bound to forget. So I'm going to take the darkest green I can find. It's quite a nice green. And I'm probably going to kind of squish that into there, and that's a bit of a green as well. You cannot be precious with this because it's just too, you really just do not have any kind of control over where you're putting the colour, really. So that's actually quite nice for me. And I'm just going to try these three greens that we have here. So you can go from a little bit of what you've got to then a bit more until you're very pale. And again, it's not like me not to worry about going over the edges, but it's quite nice to be really, really, really free. I'm not going to bother with the leaves. I just wanted the colour there that I wouldn't actually think that was a petal, because sometimes I do that. So the next colour in we had here was an orange. So again, I don't want very much because I just want to kind of have a bit of a paler flower this time. Just to show that I can do something a little bit different. And then bring this down a bit more. So it's quite nice to be that little bit freer and not have to think, you know, I've got to get this very precise, I can't go over the lines. And you're more thinking about colour than actual form, so that's very freeing in itself. I must have put that one the wrong way actually, because that's not quite as light as I'd want it. So again, push that down there now. So we're going to have a lot lighter flower, even though they are the same colours. I do actually quite like these colours, but again, it's another paler version. So you could just use 3, but I'm actually quite enjoying really mushing these together. It's a lot more tiring than playing with a little paintbrush, that I have to say. But at least there'll be some consistency on the same page. So I've kind of got a pale edge and a pale edge, and I may as well start here. You can sharpen these, but I just can't get to my sharpness at the moment. So okay, go into there with this one. I think it's going to be too. I think it's going to be too much. And again, it depends on which direction. You can either do circular motion or you can do. I think once you've been the dark ones, I should have done the paler ones first though, because it's going to give them a little bit of a tint. And I didn't really want that. But at least it's given it some continuity with the other flower, because obviously they are next to each other. So again, sometimes you don't actually know what's going to happen when you squish one colour into another. That's quite nice actually, I quite enjoyed that. That's really nice, that. Completely different than what I normally do. And these are actually quite creamy. They are kind of buttery. Just slip onto the page quite nice. And again, it's very quick to work, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm very impatient. If I want anything, I want it now. I can't wait. And if I don't get it now, I don't want it. Terrible. And some people might say that's being spoiled. I'm not sure. So that was actually quite nice. That little bit there was quite nice. Sometimes you can get a bit of a nice effect, considering that these are just children's crayons, and then if you just push it further, you can see what kind of effect you can get if you just use the smallest amount. Oh, I'm missing chat, it's flying past. Oh, hi Jennifer, anybody else that's about? Are we all old fibs now? Old fibs. Old fibs. Not quite the same colour as this one, but there is definitely a smell of oil in the camp. I think we could have possibly quite a pale kind of centre. Just squish some of these different colours in. We just have that little bit of an orange in the middle. And see what that brings. That's actually smished into much of a muchness of as I should say. So I think I'm going to just put a tiniest little bit of red in there. And then we can dot some red in. And just going to smudge that in a little bit. Like a bit of a highlight there. Something going on here. And then I did have that kind of purple colour that was up a little bit. I just want a little tiny bit of that purple just kicking about a little bit, just to give that some continuity, because it's kind of lost and a lot different to the other one over there. So I can't help myself, I just have to go and do a little bit. I am actually going to squish all this out, this colour, so that I kind of, it's going to be as clean as I can get this. So again, just giving that a little bit of a, it's a bit hard work is this, I have to say, but it's fun. And I needed to have a little bit of fun today. My shoulder keeps clicking every time I move. Again, instead of actually just smishing them in, I might just kind of so we've got 2 flowers done. Oh, thank you, Debs. It's completely different. It's like I say, it's. I wanted to free myself today, so this is going to be a little book playing with children's oil pastels. I must have bought them. Oh, that's the little one I found. And I'm just having real good play, and it's very messy, but it's. Whoops. So I'm just going to carry on. So I quite like those two colours. So this one has obviously got to be. That one looks kind of one of those yellowy, creamy coloured, which I haven't really got in here. It's all pinks. I don't think pink's going to go on here, so I'm going to maybe do this, possibly a yellowy kind of in the background. And then yellows and mustardy colours. That's a very similar, that one. There isn't much difference in that one. And then I want to do this one. I kind of like this one. And this probably will pull them all together now. Don't know what kind of flowers they are, but again, I don't really want to get bogged down with that. I just want to kind of have a bit of fun and loosen up a bit. That's my New Year's resolution, is to just be that little bit looser. So again, I'm just going to, in fact, what I could do is if I scribble this colour over here, that would be quite nice pale background to draw on, I think. To write on. You could write over the top and still see the words. And yet I can clean this little torsion or blending tool. You can put them in your oh, Alfie! You can actually put them in your pencil sharpeners, I think. So it's quite a long time since I've actually used one. We normally use charcoal. Not sure why he's in there on his own, but he is. So quite like these colours. And again, you know, not normally what I would do. I'd normally have a look at the colours first and then kind of check them out. So this is my New Year's play, my first day in my little book. So I've had reddy oranges and tan colours and a few yellows. So there's a bit of a peachy pink. Peachy pink would be quite nice instead of a pale pink. Oh, that's quite nice. I think I might just have a bit of a play with this one. So I'm going to do a bit of pale here. But again, very rough, not thinking about much except for a little bit of colour. So that's going to kind of free me up a little bit. Whoopsie, sorry about that. I've got my chameleon pens ready to use and I changed my mind last minute. And that was the lid that kind of whoops. And because these are the kids, you know, they are going to fall to bits a little bit. Oh, that's too pink. I really don't want a pink thing. I want a peachy colour. I think I've used that one. Oops. And again, these are kids and they're 10 years old, so they are falling to bits. There's no two ways about this. They are definitely old and I need to use them. And again, that's why I can be a little bit less precious with them. I would like a little tiny bit of a paler colour, and that's probably okay. No, it's a bit too pink. I don't want pink. I want a white colour in there. So put some white in there just to kind of give a bit more. I've probably got too much colour on there because it's completely saturated with colour. And I've got to clean the white crayon off now because it's now covered in all sorts. So I've got a little blendy tool. I think this is the cleanest. Again, just smush. I think that's the easiest way to hold it, is like this. So just go in little circular motions. Start where it's the palest and then kind of squish in. And they're working quite well, actually. I don't know what professional ones are like. I haven't used them for years. The pigment won't be that brilliant because they are children's, but you know, this is fine for what I want to do. And it's also good if you've not played with oils before, because you know, you might suddenly think, oh, I love this, I want some professional oil pastels so that I can really get into these. And that's the good thing about using other things up. You're not precious with them, so you can actually give them a really good run for the money. It's a bit too pinky really to be on that page, but just see if I can lift up a little bit. It doesn't really go, but I can rectify that. I can put some dark in there, I think. Just find the so that's the page. So it's very bold, and I'm scribbling this over here so that if I want to write some words, I can do that. So I've got a bit of a background here, so I'm not really bothered what that looks like. So if I get rid of all this, I can now go into the leaves. So go into the lightest bit first. So you're either pushing all the light into the dark, or you're pushing the dark into the light, depending on what effect you want. And if you then smiddle back, you get a nice blend. But as I say, I've never really played too much with these. I've used them for the first time in the little journal quite a long time ago. And again, you know, just smishing around, and then you might have enough to do a stem. I think that's a strange colour as well. So you can swish about a bit. And then I've got to think about the background. In fact, I've just found another one here. So that probably would be a bit of a pale leaf. So you smush that into there. So has anybody got any questions? Oh, thank you, Eileen, thank you. Again, I just thought I'd have just a bit of a play. So we can think of a natural background, or we can just, I was just going to put possibly a little bit of colour in that. And if I put a very pale colour in it, you can blend it kind of really well. So it's very quick and it's very loose, so that's about all you can really say about it, but it's quite fun. I was going to just do something with this because it's too pink. I don't like it, it's too pink, so I can either make it, I had that purple, so I can make it darker. I'm going to go darker, see if I can actually change the colour. There will be a little bit of the colour left, but and then we wanted that orangey red, the reddy red. I wonder if we can get some orange going in there. Ooh, perhaps some orange goes in there. I just need it to connect a little bit with those other flowers because I'm not really happy with it. I do actually want the page to sit together. I don't really want it too far out. Again, if I kind of switch the orange first, I might get away with it. Just take that nasty pink away. I say, because the children's, I've got lots of colour coming off there. It's just changing that pink. Even if it's a sandy pink, a salmony pink, it's a slightly better pink than a Barbie pink. I don't like a Barbie pink. So it's a little bit darker, but... And then, what other colours do we have? I think that's a black. It is a black, so we could kind of do some dramatic dark purple and black. It's a nice purple, this one actually. It's not the darkest one. Is that the darkest one? Yeah, that's the darkest one. I just think actually I like the darkest one better. And then I'm going to squish. I mean, these crayons hopefully are not going to last long. So this should make them pop out quite bright now if I do this, hopefully. So I'd like to be a little bit careful. But they are kind of really slippery, so they're kind of going to wash all over the place really. So we're going to put those there. Just lift those out of the way carefully. Bring that back. So I might just actually smush this in together. Yeah, there's too much crayon on here. If you had it on a bit more of a board, you'd be able to get a nice blend. But again, you know, these are kids' things, and this is a couple of pounds. I just want them to pop out, and I thought they would kind of do that if I had a dark background. So I probably put a little bit too much black in there. I could have got away with less. So thanks for stopping in, everybody. As I say, I hope you all had a pleasant day yesterday, and all recovered from our mammoth stream along, which was wonderful. Thank you, Jean, for organising that. That was wonderful, and thank you for inviting me. It was a bit scary going first because I had no idea what anybody else was doing. So, a little bit scared. So again, if you push the black over there, it just lightens that black slightly. You could do it with your fingers, as I say. It's just, I just need a bit more control because I just wanted to kind of still give it a good go, even though it was a cheapy kind of a book. I think that was dark, and then kind of smush all that together. There's something quite nice about a dark background. Just kind of push all that off there. I've just got this little bit in here to do. Oh, there seems to be something going on there, but I'm just going to come that round. And I'm just going to put a little bit of black, I think, around the edge. Oops, that's not black. Just put a little bit of black all the way around. I'm not going to want to stay. I think the one thing to remember about these children's ones is they're very kind of creamy and buttery, so you don't actually need a lot to smudge a nice background. If you have too much, it just wants to run away with you. And if you can just take a little bit of the colour with you from the flower, it doesn't look like it's too stark, hopefully. So that's my little page, which is fairly quick and fairly fun. Some of the colours I like and some I don't particularly like. I don't like the pinky purples. And I think I like the first one I did first. So I probably should have stayed with the right colours. But it's very, very kind of messy and yucky. But, you know, this is my page. If I wanted to keep that nice, I would put a sheet inside. So these were slightly different ones. There isn't as much coating on this one. These were the children's ones that are a bit more professional. These are really cheap ones, but great fun to play with. Which one were you looking at? Sorry, Suzanne, blue or black? I did the outside with black, but I caught that purple. Oops. So again, you feel kind of like you've been playing with wax crayons. You've been playing with candles. So if I hold that up, you can see the colours. So they look a lot nicer on the screen than they are. But it's more dramatic than I'm used to doing, you know, when you put it next to pale things. I'm not sure. I don't think I've got professionals because I've never used them. I'll have a look. These are for the children, but I think these are kind of student grade because they are this you can feel on here, a little bit like Crayola crayons, but this one is so soft and smooth and it was easier to blend. This was a bit of a workout, whereas the one I did yesterday, so if I have a look for another set, the thing is you do get quite yucky. But again, you know, quite fun. I mean, I don't know how much this would cost you. I'm just using them up. It says oil pastels, but it is they say it's for students, but you know, it's grown-up children. We wouldn't say toddlers, but you know, we would say it's a set for girls and boys that want to draw, but it's not student grade as you're going to college to be an artist, kind of. As I say, I think I bought them when the girls were about eight or so. What other one have we got? I can do another one. How are we doing for time? But that was fun. You know, it's really different colours than I'm used to doing. This is called Colour Therapy, Anti-Stress Adult Colouring Book. But I bought, it says 88 pages and 44 amazing designs. $1.99 there from Boys, which is a shop we have in England. But I've had this, it was one of the first books I bought. But I say the paper's a lot better. So it's actually it's actually quite good quality. I've done this one before, but I've had this in another book that's not a hardback book. I don't think you could possibly get really those designs in shape. Some of them I would think are almost impossible. I really would have liked to have done this in the, which I'm going to do probably now, I might do that now, in the chameleon colours, because these are going to be disappearing. She's going back on the 5th, so I haven't got long with those. But I thought it would just free me up a little bit. You probably could get away with it. Again, I've done that with the chameleons, so how are we doing for time? Probably could do that. I could do another page. Have I missed everybody? So welcome to Bunny's Designs. It is a really cheapy book, but it has a hardback cover, so a cardboard cover, so I thought that would be quite good for me. And so I can actually kind of write out a few things or just put the date if I felt like it. I mean, there's no reason why I couldn't use the marker from the chameleon pens to draw on this side. Let me have a look. Which side? We've got a 4mm, which is quite thin. So I could do my design, which is kind of this kind of thing. And this is my doodle, so yes, you've got to be careful drawing on the but there's no reason why I couldn't do this. Oops. I've got to remember to have quite big designs because they're not really pointed crayons, so we could do that. I'm not sure I'll get one down there because of the wax is actually sat on top. But if we get just a bit of a design, we could follow it. I like filling pages. Got to have a full page. Just got to be a bit careful that I haven't damaged that. So I'll fill this one in really quickly and see how. I'll do this one in these and you can see the difference. These do look a little bit nicer, and they're definitely oilier because when you touch them, the oil comes off on your fingers. So these are actually very, very creamy. I think that's a black. Oh, it's a grey. It's a grey, that one. A little twistable blender. They kind of go a lot flatter to these. I'm probably putting far too much colour on them than I need, really. Sorry, I've just got that, Suzanne. Oh, bless. I was thinking about Ustream kicking us off like it sometimes does. And so we've kind of got really nice kind of, you see that was a lot softer. You just glide like butter over the top. Get some white in there. There is a little bit of kind of, if you start airing this getting a little bit, you can get some really lovely blended tones. I think these are probably better, slightly better than these. They're kind of, and when you hold them, you can feel them. They're kind of really kind of oily. But I've never played with oils. I know some people love them, oil pastels. I like them because they're quick. That's the only real reason I like them, because they are really quick. So if you want to be kind of free and quick. So I've used them in a little book that I was doing. I think I didn't put yellow, I think I put white, didn't I? I'd altered a book, but they just kind of slide together, almost like oil paints. They feel very much like oil paints, but just slightly waxier, thicker. But they almost slide together. It's a. I don't know if you could see that on the. Bring the camera in a little bit. You might be able to see it. But I bought these in Spain for the children years and years and years ago. I don't know why that's kind of pixelated, isn't it? Does that make it any better? No. That didn't make it any better. I know why. It's changed this. Just bear with me 2 seconds. That's why. That should be better. That should be a little bit better. So if I take that one and do that one green. Again, they're just so soft. I think that is a green as well, isn't it? Yeah, so you can just put. Oops. It's a bit difficult to stay in the line because they are kind of soft. And then just squishing them together. So I think this is, you'd start like this, and then like oil paint you would do this and get your base colour down, and then you kind of go over the top and build up. But oil colour kind of dries a little bit before you go onto it. This is always going to be kind of moving about a bit, so you can be a lot freer, but the colours are gorgeous. Does that make any sense? I will be doing oil paints with Oil in the Abbey, I think, because I can't get hold of this thing that I wanted for next week, so I will be doing a little bit of that. So we could have, oops, again, they did kind of literally drop to pieces because they are so soft. Maybe that's because they're old, I'm not sure. Some are softer than others. You see that one just kind of really just slides together. And you can just smooth them in with your fingers if you want to, and then just push it to the edges. Again, I'm not really bothered about the edges. Normally I would be, but completely not bothered about that. I'd probably like to keep that red pale red inside. It would help if this was a little bit cleaner, but again, I'm just having a play. Oh, thank you, Eileen. 50 years. Okay, I won't be waiting around for that one then. Yeah, they do take a long time. I did think it was a long time. But again, you can just kind of swish them together. Okay, bearing in mind my hands are quite dirty now. And that's kind of a darker blue. I think probably the pigments, some are better than others. The purple seems to be quite, the blue seems a lot softer than the others. Just squishing a little bit of that colour into there. The greens are very, very soft. I like oils because you can, but I used water-based oils because you can correct your mistakes. Doesn't matter what you do, you can always correct your mistakes in oils, and I love that. And you can with acrylics. Watercolour is the worst because once you've made a mistake, it's going to sit and look at you forever. It's very difficult to rectify mistakes in watercolours. So that's what I was going to do live on Tuesday, but I'm not sure if it'll be live. I've just got to double check with everybody that they are happy for me to do this. I'm just going to want to waltz in and start. Oops. But again, the girls are never going to use these, so I thought it was a good opportunity to just have a play. And again, I'm using quite a dirty little blending tool, which is not ideal. And there's a lot of colour on there, so you could actually go back into here and get quite a lot of colour off if you wanted to. But they're not sitting on top like these. This is almost flat, whereas this would still rub off. So maybe a little bit like a Crayola, but these are a lot, what I would call creamier. They're a lot softer. Just move the camera down a smidgen. You can actually see what I'm doing. See, the blue is a little bit harder than the purple. The purple's very soft, but I think that's something to do with the age of everything. I think, pretty sure it is. I actually kind of like that. The green is really soft and squidgy as well. It just kind of, it's like butter almost, just rubbing that onto there. And then squishing that in. Again, you know, the colour is coming off everywhere. So you definitely don't need as much of colour. Probably using too much colour. So you can either use your finger or, again, the red is quite soft as well. But that's probably because I've kept them for a long time. This probably has absolutely nothing to do with, because this green is kind of like a crayon, and then this one is just soft and buttery and squishy. It'll probably turn into really kind of oily pastels. Just spread that about there a little bit. And again, once you feel it, you can feel it's nearly gone. Whereas here, that's like a Crayola crayon. It's, you know, that's all covered and it's all kind of waxy. This isn't waxy at all. This is soft and smooth. So I'm guessing that these are slightly better quality. I'm going to try not to use as much this time to see if I can get a nicer blend. Kind of use a finger instead, and then I'm not contaminating everything. You want me to do some chalk pastels? I'm not sure how they'll go because chalk pastels need a tooth, and there definitely is not a tooth on this kind of colouring pencil, but I might have a go. Let's see. There was something else that I needed to use as well, but again, they're quite vibrant. So I'm going to swish that into there. And they're quite fun. And again, that's what I wanted to do today, is to really, oops, you see they break. They're almost like, they're just so soft. And that's what makes me think these are a little bit more professional than, these are probably student grade rather than kind of children's kiddies. Because they are just really, it's like pushing oil paint around. They are very, very, very soft. I actually quite like that really deep. So just bear me 2 seconds because I can feel my fingers getting extremely gungy. So I need to do a very dark background. Oh, how do you do that, Suzanne? Suzanne said you can make the paper. I suppose you can gesso it and that'll give it a tooth. I've missed a little bit up here of the pattern. I was just going to do this little bit here. We can have those as little cherry reds, couldn't we? All the same. So we can just kind of squish this bit in. As long as I'm over the line, I'm going to go back over with the background. So I just want a nice coverage in the middle. And again, I absolutely love this one. So it's disintegrates in front of you. It's quite, it's a real squishy green in this one. And this is quite creamy, but you don't have as much control over it. So again, you know, if you're going to squish about a bit, just have a look. I mean, you can go over things, backgrounds with other, you don't have to use pastel, you could use paint if you wanted to. You can do it with all sorts of other things if you need to. Again, just... Yes, thank you. Just
Need anything?
No, just being a little bit... Oops, sorry about my creaky house. Creaky doors in my house. So once you start to get some dark behind, in fact, I might use this black actually. The only thing is it will use it up, but I want to use it up. So again, some of these are a bit creamy, so that was actually quite nice. And I like blacks to be not blacks. It's very rare I use black. I like making my own. So you can make a warm black. You can make a purpley black, or you can make a blue black, or a pink black, a warm black, or a yellow black. Yellow blacks are awesome for water reflections. So, and then of course you can kind of free yourself up a bit when you get. I actually quite like the idea of just see if I can get a nice effect around this one. Oh, Liquitex, yeah, it'll be the same as so I could do in that case, because I have some coloured pencils. No, I don't. I have some pastel pencils. So this actually is going to take me quite a while. This is going to take me a while, so to show this. That's what I could do then. That's an idea, is to gesso a page. If I gesso a few pages with my homemade clear gesso, I could then do that. That would be good. So I'm just going to pop this on there because This is going to be an experimental book. And just kind of squish all that into there. Just bear with me a second. Yeah, creaky houses. I don't think you like my creaky house. Let me just see if I can actually get... Oh, it's not too bad.
Alfie.
So you can try and get some kind of a flattish background and push the colour around. But sometimes it's quite nice. And I think what would be nice is this deep purple. In fact, I actually think this one was deeper. I think this would be quite nice because you can have a little bit of colour in it with the black. And again, you know, it's not all black then, there's just that little bit of a hint of something. And they do squish about really well, these. So you can keep going until you've got hardly anything on the page. It's very messy. It's not kind of something to do when you're just going out on a dinner party 10 minutes before you're going out. So I just put a little bit round and then tease that around. So I do want some really dark near, but the other thing is just to use them up. You know, when they're used up, I'll go use something else. And then if you suddenly think, oh, I really enjoyed playing with those, you know, go get some more expensive ones. You don't have to get professional oil pastels, just get student grade, or see if you can get any second hand, and that's the best thing to do, because lots of people buy them and hate them, but you know, it's a different medium, but it's just fun, but it's extremely messy. It's just very, very messy. Oops. And again, because these are kind of falling apart, really, it's just literally squishing all over. But it's a dark background, and that's what I wanted. I wanted these oranges to kind of pop out, because I'd messed up before. I didn't intend to use this page for this. But the nice thing is I can still put an odd word on here if I want. I can still just and use it kind of like a journal. Or the other thing I thought was a gratitude journal, because the gratitude journal you can just put a little note, and then you can hide it somewhere or put a pocket in somewhere. But I wanted to do one every day, and so it gets rid of these things that I don't intend to use anymore. Having said that, I'm having quite a lot of fun now. But again, you can do that. You can look at something and go, oh, I won't use that anymore, or it's not me. And then you can use it in a completely different way and think, oh, wow, I think that's really good. No, Debbie, definitely not for people who don't like getting messy. But there's always plastic gloves. There's always plastic gloves. And if you actually used this particular part of it and one of these, you don't get very messy. It's just because I've been rubbing it with my hands. But if you use this particular section, no. And if most of them are covered. We'll have a look at the other ones. They are actually branded, so you can see them. but none of them I don't think are professional. I don't think. These are quite good quality. These are good quality student ones because they were bought in Spain for the girls to go to school. They had to have certain things to go to school. I did a Shirley Valentine with kids. I ran away to Spain with the kids because I could walk for miles and go shopping and just walk and carry all the vegetables home and walk to school. So took the girls to Spain and got them in a school. Found a town that didn't speak very much English, and my Spanish was very bad, and it is very bad, but it made me have to speak Spanish in order to be understood. So that's quite good. Always go somewhere that doesn't speak the language and then you've got no choice. You have to learn. I mean, I could order food and eat things, but pharmacy was funny.
Come on.
Your stomach guster, is it? I've got stomach ache. Yeah. Oh, sorry, bark alert. So it's very scribbly and very messy, but I'm having a bit of fun. As I say, these are for the kids to play with, and because they're old, I think they're kind of going to be, ugh. I'm sure oil pastels are not normally like this. It's something I've never wanted to do because years and years ago I trained as a graphic designer, so my art is kind of very precise, and I've always been precise, so everything I have to do has to be precise. So this is definitely out of my comfort zone, so I've never really had a good play. I mean, this is scribbling, but it's fun, and that's what I needed to do. Just have a bit of fun and use my supplies up. Or use the children's supplies. Whoops. See, I've gone over there, but I'm not really bothered. I've gone over. So I'll get the other ones out in a second because they're actually named and branded, so we have a little bit of something. We know what we're doing. Is that kisses or kicks? Suzanne said. No, he said he was going to be a good boy, and it lasted 3 minutes after the New Year. And he sneaked into the kitchen and left us a New Year's Eve present. Sorry, a New Year's Day present. And then looked all biggy doe-eyed and said, "It wasn't me." Isn't that what the kitchen's for? So again, you know, it's a bit of a scribble, but I might have come up with a colour that I'd not used before. And it's a bit hard on your hands, but you know, I'm scribbling. I did want to see what the black was like. So I think most of these oil pastels will have good paper sleeves on them, so you don't get messed up. I'm pretty sure that's how it's supposed to work. I'm just going to scribble down there. But as I said, I wanted to be a little bit more creative, and so this is my own design that I keep doing. It's rather boring, but it's my doodle. I've been doodling it since I was 16, so it's me doodle. It's my doodle. So I've been trying to get hold of an interior Pro so that I could do some sketching in the Abbey on my laptop, and I didn't realise that every man and his dog wanted one for Christmas, so we can't get hold we can't get hold of any. Oops. So I'm quite pleased with the paper in this little book, but I said it's again, I wanted to use my old books up as well. That was another thing. I've got the lovely Kirby Roseanne's, and I've got the and I'm sure, I think there's some more, and it's quite good for wiping off actually, so if you do make a boo-boo you can wipe it off. So I've got those where I can do all the really nicey peaceful, quiet ways of working, and this is kind of, let's just scribble and have fun and be a little bit more creative and get out of your comfort zone. Again, I don't really like the black backgrounds, but I like dark backgrounds, so I could have probably put a little bit more purple in there. And I've obviously got to just scribble on that because so I put that back. Again, there seems to be tons of these colour left. I haven't used any, even though I've been using them quite liberally, which again is not like me, so I can put those into here. So that's my 2 plays. Yes, I was looking at that. I remember the Golden Girls, and I love the Golden Girls, and everybody retires there when they're all got arthritic and it's all warm and squishy, and I think, yeah, that's where I want to go. So let's find another page. We may as well do 2 pages, and then I'm ahead, you see. I'll do that one. We may as well. So if I get my... I'll gesso some of these, so that might be my thing tomorrow then. Because I have... if you can see, these Winsor & Newton, these look gorgeous. Again, I don't even think I've had them out. These were, oh yes I have, but my daughter used them because I'd never used them. I did actually buy them because they were reduced, so I actually bought those. But these Faber-Castells have never been out of the box, and must be 15 years ago I bought an art supply box which had these in, and I paid about £28. Now I'm not sure how much these are. Everything was brand new, but I got hundreds and hundreds of pounds worth, but I've never used them. They are beautiful. I don't think anybody's used them. I think they're all brand new. So I have the Faber-Castell ones, so I put that onto there. And I do have pastel. I've bought professional pastel sketchbooks because they have a tooth, because we had, oops. So the ones I have used, which again must be when I was first married 20 odd years ago, are these cheapy ones. I think this is a cheap set of, I put all the chalks together. So I've used these, and these are the half ones you get, and I bought these at a model show because of the colours, because I loved the colours, and I had a bit of a play with those because I must have gone to a show without anything and found those. These are professional ones because they're in these little pots. This is another cheapy set, but I prefer the hard ones. You get lovely soft pastels which are very expensive, and then you get the cheaper ones, and I like a bit more kind of rough and tumble to them to get a bit more precision. These are soft and creamy, and they're a little bit like the oil pastels. They just kind of smush around. And then I bought these, I think these were in there, the Conti crayons. I think they were in this box. I don't even think I've been in here. So they've hardly been used. So again, I need to use these. I need to get to use them. This is another kind of, oh, they're kind of professional ones. these are cheapy ones, the £1/2. And then these are from the pound shop. I just thought I'd get them for the girls to play, but obviously they haven't played. So all these need to be used and played with. I think these are professional ones. Yeah, these look like, I can't read that one. Oh. I can't read them. But these are gorgeous, but these are proper, really proper pastels. And these are the same, the round ones, these are the same. These were in this set of professional pastels. They were in the box. So the cheapy ones, I think these are half and half, the Winsor & Newton ones. They are professional, but they are lovely and soft. So I have all those, but the other thing I do have, and now I'm absolutely filthy. So I could do some fine work, is I have some pastel pencils. I just have to get a baby wipe because my hands are filthy. I'll be back in a tick. Switch up, Dexter. Good boy. I'm still streaming. I'm just need to turn the top on that. I got the kind of pastels up the black. Baby wipe. Thank you. I hadn't realised how filthy they were. They were very, very dirty. But soft pastels are, but they're gorgeous. So I'll stop that particular video and start the next one about pastels, if that's okay. But definitely feel kind of, and as I say, very much like, very waxy, like the, that's the softer one. This is very much like Crayola crayons, but they're just that little bit oily. So the colours are quite nice. So that's end of my New Year's resolution. I've done 2 pages. Thank you, darling. So thank you for watching.